So I'm really drawn to making another video on this idea of having a communication between two sides of oneself. The ego that really needs something to make it happy, and the wisdom behind that. And I'm drawn to doing it, I feel, because it's so simple. It's such a wonderful thing to be able to do, and everyone can do it, and it's free, and you don't need a self-help book, you don't need to go and search on YouTube for a guru to help you, you don't need to go to a meditation class. All you need to do is talk to yourself. So, and unfailingly, it never, how do I word this? Unfailingly, it makes me feel better. Better, it makes me feel more liberated. It brings a sense of integration of these separate parts of myself. It brings a sense of calm, joy, liberation, as I said. So, if you're like me, and some days you feel that things are getting better and you feel, oh, I might be waking up here. I feel I can see the oneness of things, and I feel that I understand that my petty little concerns don't matter. And so you feel like you're progressing, and then another day, suddenly you're back to the start. You feel like a failure, you feel like you're negative and you're bitching at people, and you can't stop yourself having these negative emotions, and you feel like the whole thing has been a waste of time. If you're like me and you have this up, down, up, down, up, down, then in those moments of real despair, why am I failing? This process of setting up this communication between yourself is so helpful. So helpful and so easy. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, what I'm going to do, because I don't always speak to myself if I'm on a bus or a train or something, that I might write myself some notes down. So I've got some notes here of when I was on a bus. It'll be almost word for word what I read, but I don't want to keep looking down, so I'll be improvising a little bit. And to make it more simple, I will be let's say this is the ego talking, and then I'll swivel round, and this is the wisdom that all of us have. You could call it God, you could call it the universal wisdom, consciousness, being, I don't know, but we all have it. So there's going to be this separation. You might feel, that sounds a bit strange, I don't think I'd be able to do that, I feel too silly. So just, like I said, you could write it down, and by practicing it, it gets easier and easier and easier, it just becomes more natural. So, don't worry about that, just try it. And, okay, so here we go, I'll start off. And the thing that seems odd is that I'm trying to get a sense of integration, a sense of oneness. But first I have to separate myself into two parts. And why is that? Because we get so lost in our ego. Our ego mind wants this, and then it gets confused and stuck, and it doesn't know how to get out of that. So I think first it's best just to slice that psyche in half. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but it sounds fine now. And have this separation, just so it's really clear what the desire is, what you need to know, and then the answer to that is really clear. And then after a while, and it never fails for me, the integration comes back, and you don't need an ego and a God. You don't need a question and an answer. It's just this state of sort of faith and wakefulness and mindfulness, really. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a minute so I can have a quick look over and just recap what this conversation was about, and then I will do an example of a conversation. Okay, thank you. I was fed up of feeling like a failure. I'm fed up of feeling like I get so far and then it all comes crashing down, I'm tired, irritated, feel stuck. Well, the first thing could be to really just notice that actually there's nothing wrong with any of that. Those feelings might come up, and what the tendency is to try and then add a layer of guilt onto that. Oh, I shouldn't feel angry, or I shouldn't feel tired, or... And that's it. The big universe is doing its thing, and that's the feeling that's arising in you at that moment. And anyway, since you were born, you've been in a physical world of contrasts. This is what planet Earth is. It's not some perfect, pain-free, wonderful utopia. Hand in hand with having an ego, being human, is a feeling of despair, a feeling of abandonment, because when you were born, you seem to lose that sense of unity. And that's okay, so don't fight it when the feelings that seem negative arise. Okay. I want to be free from that. I want to be able to, okay, I can understand that I want to accept a feeling of negativity, but at the same time, there must be a way that I can just make myself feel better. I don't have to accept that I'm always going to be a bastard, or I'm always going to have this horrible ego that I hate. I don't want to be like this anymore. I just want to be free. So what is liberation then, if I have to just accept it? Liberation is the end of this little story that I am so important and my life needs to be a certain way. Liberation is not an end to a negative feeling or an end to pain. It's an end to taking it so personally. So the universe does its thing, and you just surrender to that and accept this is the way it's meant to be, and watch it happen. Okay, yeah, I've heard of that word surrender. I know surrender is important. The concept of surrendering to what is, I can understand it. I can understand that would make me feel free, but I still can't do it. I can't practically just surrender. How? How can I just... How? I'm still lost. I'm lost. Practically, what do I do? So simple, so simple. Breathe. Relax. And then breathe again. And then relax. It's as simple as that. Because what tends to happen is we try to understand things, we try to do things, make things happen. We try to control our lives so that we can somehow find happiness. And all of that trying and that effort is a contraction and a tension. So we go through life as a big ball of tension with very narrow, fixated ways of looking at life. So when you just breathe and relax, and notice what's happening, and then when you notice what's happening, keep relaxing. Don't allow it to agitate you, just relax. Then you're expanding rather than contracting. And when you expand, there's a sense of allowing something else in, allowing the emptiness to be, and presence arises, and this curiosity can just arise. There's this Vipassana Buddhist meditation technique of just noting what's happening, not saying, I am walking over the floor, I am picking up the soap, I am rubbing the soap, I'm feeling angry because I'm in a bad... you're not attaching a story to it, just walking, lifting, anger, smelling and rubbing, and you go through life, and life is happening without you being the central figure of it that's trying to make life work in a certain way. You can't control it. You are not, from your perspective, you are not in control. And when you relinquish that, and very simply just by breathing and coming back to that breath and allowing things just to be, then you're approaching liberation. Okay, so I'm breathing. And I'm finding it a bit weird, and I can't really understand how this is helping. But at the same time, by breathing, there does seem to be this place, okay, where it's like beyond thought. Thought is there, but breathing is like a bedrock. It's like an anchor. So yeah, I feel better now. I am feeling better because there's this more of a sense of calm. Just see how it goes. Just try and staying here. Yeah, I do actually feel much better. I wanted to include a little bonus bit about the pain body. So the pain body is a phrase coined by Eckhart Tolle, which talks about, it's like a demonic presence that can take over and feeds off your negativity. It's like an entity that feeds off pain and negativity and anger and all of that. And I've got a really strong pain body, and often, not so much lately, but often in the past, I would have these attacks where I'd feel like I was actually like the devil or something. And I just wanted to include this because it can be overwhelming. Some people don't really have a problem with the pain body. Some people have a big problem with it, and it's hard to know what to do when it's taking over. But my advice is do exactly the same thing. Just try and talk to it. It's difficult to remember always, but if you can, very quickly what happens is the pain body, who's so irritated about something, if you just shine that light of awareness onto it, it can become quite funny, because whatever the pain body is upset about is never really that important. Well, I say that, maybe it seems that way. But, so if you get this red mist coming down, and you feel that you hate life, and you hate the universe, and you hate God, and you hate everyone, and you hate yourself, that's the pain body. And just talk to it. So what's the matter? Everything. I hate everything. Give me one thing you hate. I hate. And then it just doesn't last very long, because when you shine a light on that pain body, there's just no reason for it. It's like when you lift a stone and there's insects underneath that live in the dark, and you lift a stone, look at them, and they all scatter away. So the pain body cannot really survive if you directly ask it questions. Or the power behind it, that's the good thing about the pain body, there's so much power and determination there. That power changes into presence. So that's just an extra thing I wanted to talk about. You can do the same thing with the pain body, have a conversation with it, and you'll notice that it can't sustain that level of hatred and anger if you shine the light of awareness onto it by having that conversation. And it becomes quite funny, really.